Guys, it's Allie with Chaos Monkey, and I just wanted to review all of my kits to date from the Mary Maxim Knit Club. So I'm just going to talk a few minutes about each kit and go from there, and basically just kind of let you guys see all the previous kits out of curiosity. I know I always want to see older kits and what people have done. So my first month was July of 2017. And I think this is the only kit that I did not actually make. And this was the Lacy Knit Medallion Wrap. And as you can see, it's a Mary Maxim pattern that month, and it is made with this. So they gave us an entire cone of crochet cotton, and it's white. And I think the Crochet Club also got a crochet pattern and a cone, but I think theirs was like an off-white, like an antique white, or like a little more of a creamy color than a white. And as you can see, I attempted to make the project. And then the pattern was a little confusing. Some of it is worded a little old school. And so then I tried that, and then I tried a different pattern, and I think my other kit came pretty quickly, because I think I started the club in the middle of a month, so I got this one, and then the other kit came right after. So I kind of put this one away, and I haven't made anything with it. So as you guys know, I knit and crochet, so what I was thinking was maybe doing a crochet project with it. So if anybody has any good crochet patterns, or I could potentially use the crochet version, or something similar to the crochet version, for the Mary Maxim crochet version, because I don't think it's not a free pattern, so I'm going to have to find something similar, because I think crochet would be easier to work with crochet cotton than knitting, because you know cotton is pretty hard on your hands. So yeah, I don't know. Plus I wasn't too crazy about the white, so if I do make anything, I'll probably dye over the cotton. So if anybody has any suggestions on patterns for an entire cone of cotton, or how to dye cotton, because I know it's different than wool and animal fiber. I was thinking maybe RIT dye, but I haven't really. Anyway, it just kind of got put away. Eventually I'll make something with it, but that was July. It is August 2017 knit kit, and this was a free pattern by Premier for the Surfside poncho, and it was made with the actual yarn on here, which was the puzzle yarn, and I don't remember the color, and that is not listed on here. Oh no, acrostic, it's right there. Weird name, I think that's why I didn't remember it, but we did get 2 balls of it, and I did use all 2 balls. I think I barely had any scraps left. So this is what it looked like, and this was the finished item, which I did finish and assemble. And I'll try to include some photos so you guys can actually see it, because I know my setup isn't the best for large items. So each one that, like, you can't really see the whole thing, I'll try to put a picture in at the end. But the yarn was really soft. It's acrylic, and it was really cool how the colors worked up. I like how the colors kind of gradiated. And it's made in 2 pieces, and you sew them together, which I had never done before, that type of technique. You kind of hold them at an angle and sew each piece together. So it's kind of reversible front and back. See, there's the other side. And you see there's a big cable panel with 3 different types of cables, and then knit purl section. So it was pretty quick. I went through it pretty quickly, didn't really have any leftovers, and I do enjoy it. It's very squishy and warm. And so yeah, that was the Surfside poncho. No problems with the pattern. I think there was a correction. I think that's why I have 2 of these. Yeah, there was something left out of with the cable, but they gave us the corrected copy right away, so no problems there. Hi guys, This is September of 2017, and this was a snuggly baby blanket. And you can see the picture. And here's the finished item, which of course I can't get all of it in here. And there's lines in it because it was folded in the package. So it's a little squeezed. But if you ignore that, you can see it's a really good sized blanket. And it was pretty easy. There was no problems with the pattern. You had like a DK weight held double to make like a more bulky yarn, and it was a really soft baby acrylic from Mary Maxim. If I look at the yarn, it was Mary Maxim Anti-Pill in ecru, because it is an off-white. It's kind of hard to tell in this lighting, but it is like a cream. It's not a white. And there's an interesting story with this one is I used all the yarn because I think they gave us 7 balls, and you held the yarn double to make the blanket, and I ran out. And I think that was totally my fault because I made the garter section 1 or 2 longer than it should have been. So I started off making it a little too long, and then I wanted them to match, so I continued to make them the same. And when I got all the way to the end, I ran out like right here. So I contacted Mary Maxim to like buy 1 more ball, and they gave me some more yarn right here, but it was a different weight. So the lady was really helpful. She helped me out and found the right color and it's the same yarn, it's the Anti-Pill, but it was a different weight because I think they discontinued the thicker weight. So she gave me what they had, and they mailed it to me for free. So it was a free ball, no postage. I didn't have to pay anything, so I was really surprised. That was really good customer service. But basically, because it was a lighter weight, instead of holding it double, I held it triple. Because you can see this is a little bit thinner worsted, which is what it was before. So I held it triple and finished the end, and you cannot see the difference at all. So I made it totally work. They were really generous and helpful because it was my fault. I ran out. I just needed 1 more ball because I made it a little bigger than I should have according to the pattern, and they were super helpful. So this blanket is really big, very squishy, and I just folded up and put it away to give away to somebody that's going to be having a baby or a baby shower. And then I'm keeping the rest of the yarn with it in case I do have extra, in case I want to make a baby hat or booties or something to go with it. So October of 2017, and this was the asymmetrical scarf and slouchy. It was another Mary Maxim pattern, and here's the finished. And it used Allure, bulky weight in Lila or Hazel, and I think mine was in Lila. 4 balls. And I don't believe I had any extra left over. If I did, it was probably a small amount. And so I made this scarf. And again, excuse any lines in there because they were folded. So you might see like ridges from the folding. But as you can see, there's the yarn, and it changes from a purple to a gray. And it was a pretty simple pattern. It was kind of a similar pattern to the baby blanket from the month before. There was just some garter and then a little bit of lace work and then some garter. And it's shaped asymmetrically, super soft squishy yarn, and it's got some glitter in it. I don't know if you guys can see the glitter. There you go. And so I made the scarf. I guess it's kind of a shawl scarf, but they call it a scarf. And then the hat. And the hat was made flat and you seamed it. And I'm not happy with the way I seamed it. I think I seamed it up a little tight. I tried to go loosely, but you can see the seam. See you guys? And I usually do hats in the rounds. So I was just kind of doing it per the instructions just to do something different. So I didn't weave in the ends because I wasn't sure I was going to rip it out. But this yarn is really difficult to rip back, so I just kind of left it. So I don't know if I'll redo the hat or not, but that seam is like really bad. That's my fault. I should have seamed it up better or knit it in the round, just done it my regular way for a slouchy. But it was pretty awesome. Plenty of yarn. Okay, and so for what month are we in? November 2017. It was the mittens, boot cuffs, and scarf, Mary Maxim pattern. And as you can see, there's the scarf, the mittens, and the boot cuffs. And this was out of superwash sock yarn in dark gray and a DK Sport. I did not see the name of the yarn on there. We didn't get the same color, obviously, as the pattern. And so I made the scarf, which is in pretty autumn colors. It's not in those rainbow colors, but it's a really soft yarn. It almost feels like an alpaca. It's all acrylic. And as you can see, it has fringe, but they do get really tangled because it is such a light yarn. Simple pattern, really long scarf. If you guys can kind of see that. Sorry about my lighting. My lighting's not 100% accurate, but it's pretty close to the actual colors. And then I did the mittens, which I made match, and that was just me pulling to the right color in the yarn to just do this. So this is the dark gray, this is the dark gray sock yarn, and it's for the mittens and the boot cuffs, but I didn't do the boot cuffs. I probably will later. But just to give you an idea of how much yarn I had left over, here's the dark gray. This is a partial ball. These are the two partial balls. I don't know why I used two partial balls. I must have been doing 2 at a time or something. I don't know. There's 2 more balls of the dark gray. And let me see, does it actually list the balls? Yeah, 4 balls of dark gray and 3 balls of the other color, which is a lot for, I mean, I made the scarf as long as they requested. So, and then here is the other color. See, and I only use this much of this ball, and that's, what is this? Come on, focus. Rainia. And I don't see a color name. Just the shade and the dye lot and all of that good stuff. So, it's definitely not the brights that was on the pattern, but it's like a autumn color, very fluffy. And then here's my leftovers in 2 balls that I had pulled out to match the colors or whatever, so I keep it all together. But as you can see, I have plenty for more scarves, the boot cuffs, more mittens. I mean, this was a lot of extra, so I have lots of extra. So I'm probably going to end up making actual socks out of these, because this is a pretty durable sock yarn. This is actually wool maybe for my boyfriend or whatever. But you know, knitting in dark colors or crocheting in dark colors is not the favorite. Oh, there's a knot right there. It happens. But you can see how generous the yarn is with these kits. So I have plenty. So I might make the boot cuffs this winter. We'll see. December of 2017. This is the Sea Mist Shrug. Let's see if I can get it to focus. And as you can see, it's a shrug. And this was also a Mary Maxim pattern in the natural alpaca tweed, and they gave us 4 balls in the color Mist. And this is my leftovers. So as you can see, I have a lot of leftover, and it's really soft. Really soft. So I could probably make maybe another shrug out of that. I'm not sure, since we did get 4 balls. Obviously I used 2 and a partial ball for the shrug, so yeah, scratch that. I can't make another shrug, but I could definitely make a hat or something with this. So anyway, you already saw that. But here's the shrug, and you can see it's a really cool pattern. And then there's the cuff, and you basically do it in a flat piece and then you seam up the arms. So you can see I seamed it up here, and I think I'm going to go back in and seam the arms up a little higher to about here, because I made my shrug just a tiny bit big and it falls off. So I'm going to go up to here on both the arms, up to the armpit, because this is like not up to my armpit, and that way it will stay on better. But it's super soft, and this doesn't reflect the color. This sea mist is a really difficult color to kind of catch on film, but as you can see, it went pretty quickly. Knitting takes longer than crochet, of course, but I think this is a more accurate color on the picture. It's a little bit darker than that. Then, well, maybe it's about the same. I think you guys can almost see the color. It's a little more green than it looks. Is the January 2018. It is the mosaic cabled slippers, another Mary Maxim pattern. And let me see what they say for... It was worsted weight in Doris as the main color in gray. We got 4 balls, and then Dela, which is the natural white or cream, we got 2 balls. And here's the finished slippers. There's the mosaic pattern. These are also squished in a bag, so if they're squished at all, that's why. And you can see there's a cable pattern up both sides of the slipper, and then a garter ridge bottom. And I made these a little big. I wear about an 8.5. These probably came out closer to a 9. Oh, my lighting is going. The sun is leaving. There we go. But it's pretty interesting. If I remember correctly, you do like this portion flat and seam it. You do the slippers kind of flat, kind of not, because you kind of split here, and then you have to seam it up the back. It was really interesting. I think it did them really quickly. It only took me a couple of days to really do them. But what I want to do is, the yarn is very, very squishy and very soft, so I know it's not going to hold up as a slipper, because you can see how much stretch this has. So what I'm going to do is get some of those soles, you know, like the pleather or the leather soles, and sew that to the bottom before I use it. Just for durability and to kind of keep it from stretching out so much, because it has a really squishy yarn. But here's my leftovers. So I have 2, this is a partial, I think did I do 2 at a time? I don't know, I've pulled from both in the gray, and then I have this in the cream left over. So I could weigh these, see how much yarn I used total, kind of guesstimate, because the cream is barely anything, and see if I can make another pair of slippers out of what's left. I'd have to make a much smaller pair, but I could potentially make more slippers out of this. It's really squishy though. It might be better for a hat, or, you know, like we could do something hat-like with the 2 colors. So a lot of yarn left over on those. And so this was February 2018. This is their Yarn Inspirations pattern, and these are free, so I don't have to worry about you seeing the pattern. But this was the Bernat Seaside Blanket, and we got 6 balls in the teal. So that was pretty epic. I was really happy with that, because at the time the yarn was still going for $8 to $10 a ball, so you can do the math on that, $50 to $60 worth of yarn. So I was really excited, and this is not a small blanket. This isn't like a wimpy lap blanket. This is a really good sized blanket, which of course I can't show you on this angle, but I do have pictures showing the full size to scale, so I'll put those in. But you can see it just keeps going and going. I'm knocking stuff off my table. It's a really big blanket. And the pattern was really cool. I didn't have any problems with the pattern. It was knit, but it was knit bulky, so it went pretty quickly. Knitting does take a lot longer than crochet, and it does use less yarn than crochet, so I was able to get a pretty big blanket. I guess the crochet kit for the same month was also a blanket out of Bernat blanket yarn, but it was a smaller blanket, which is to be expected because crochet will use a third more yarn than knitting. So it was kind of nice with the lace. And the knitted version, I got a really good sized blanket with 6 balls. Yeah, it was really good size. So again, I'll put a picture in, and this doesn't quite show the teal or do justice to the teal. It's a little bit lighter than that, but my lighting keeps going in and out because I'm using sunlight. So it's kind of close to real, but it's more of a teal than this blue. It's a little more tealy. It's really soft. This was March 2018, and this was a paneled bag. And as you can see, there's the picture. This was a Mary Maxim pattern. And just to give you an idea of the yarn that was included, it was 1 skein of deep teal, 1 skein of cottonwood, 2 balls of borealis in boutique, and here's my finished bag. And it has a really neat construction. I hadn't done a construction like that before, but anyway, you do all the panels separately. You can see a cabled panel, a slip stitch panel, a textured panel, and another cable panel. And you hold them together and stitch them up so that they make a bag, which when you try to lay it flat, it's going to stick out because it's made to be kind of a bag at the bottom, so it's not going to lay flat. But anyway, the only part I didn't do was the handles because they were I-cord, and I hate doing I-cord. So I was going to do a crocheted version of a handle that won't stretch because I-cord doesn't stretch, so I was going to do like a single crochet something or other handle, because as you can see on the picture, it's I-cord, and you do like 2 cords of I-cord and kind of wrap them together on each side, so it's 4 long cords of I-cord total. And I don't know, I just didn't like the look. I didn't think it would be comfortable to wear, and I wanted something thicker, so I was kind of trying to come up with an idea for the handles and never got there. So I kind of just put it away. So that's the only thing that's not done is the handles. And also, if you do make this, I would suggest lining it with something because it is knit. So stretch, stretch. So anything you put in here is going to stretch the bag out or pop through, because knitted or crocheted, you should probably line your bags. So that was another thing. I was like, I don't want to do the handles, and right at that time I didn't want to do the handles. And also figure out a way to line it to actually be able to use it. And as you can see, I was having a really hard time seaming. Looks pretty good considering. I was trying to make it look as clean as possible because it wasn't really something I could seam from the inside. Well, actually I did seam it from the inside. But my point was I couldn't really seam it from the inside and have it not show. So I was trying to make it really neat. At least with the white and the blue against each other. See, this you don't see. And this one you don't see because they blend in really well. And I have a lot of yarn left over. Here's the teal. Here's the cottonwood. And then some little balls. And then as for the boutique, I have this one, and this one, plus scraps. So I have almost all 3 balls of boutique left. So they really give you a lot of extra because really all you're using the boutique for is 1 panel and some I-cord. So there's a lot. It's very generous in the yarn. And I never made a bag like that before, so that's another thing I like is getting projects I normally wouldn't make and yarn I normally wouldn't buy. Because I'm not sure I'd ever buy this Midnight, but it's really pretty. So I have a lot of extras, so I don't think I'd make another bag. I think I'd probably make hats or something else out of it, but it's really pretty. This is April 2018, and this is a free Premier pattern, so no worries about showing you the pattern. And this was in Luna and the color Mars, and we got 2 balls. And I liked working with it. It's a Premier yarn. It was really soft. It was a fingering weight. It was, I believe, 100% acrylic. Yeah, 100% anti-pilling acrylic. 273 yards per ball. I did not like the pattern, so I did not enjoy this pattern at all. I looked at the Crochet Club pattern for the month, didn't really like that one either, so I ended up doing a completely different pattern, which I actually used the Stormy Sky Shawl by Life is Cozy. And this is, sorry, it's totally squished, what it came out as, which I really liked with using with this yarn. I think it really showcased the stripes, and this is knitted. So I was looking at crochet and knitted patterns, but I figured with the striping that maybe a knitted pattern would be more appropriate. And I did put tassels on it, so I used up all the yarn. I just put 1 tassel on each end. And it's a very big, big drapey shawl. And I do have pictures of this too that I'll include so you can actually see the whole shawl. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think my pattern was a much better choice than this. This was all garter, and with the rounded edge, I just did not like that. I just don't think it did a good job on showcasing the yarn. So that's what I made. So. And it went by pretty quickly. Wasn't too bad. So there's just a couple of tassels. And yeah, tassels are a great way to use up what's left in a ball. And tassels are kind of in right now, so. So now we're doing May 2018, which is a kitchen set by Mary Maxim. And you can see all of the things that they have here. Couple of 3 different types of washcloths or scrubbies, a little scrubby fish, a little scrubby circular thing, and a couple of towels in a nautical theme. And there's mine, and the yarn included was Lily, Sugar, and Cream in denim twist for 3 balls, and Mary Maxim Scrub It in cranberry in 2 balls and 2 buttons. I didn't make everything on there because cotton is not my favorite, but I did make this towel, and as you can see they gave us cute little heart buttons, and you can unbutton that. I have a buttonhole. And they're a little squished because they were folded up, because this does not match my kitchen. So I'm hoping that somebody will have a nautical kitchen I can give these to, because it was kind of odd. I liked doing it, but it was like, who's gonna actually have a kitchen? Maybe a guy's kitchen, but with the heart buttons, that kind of throws it off a little bit. But here's the other towel, and this one had a lace pattern, which was really hard to see in this denim yarn, so that was kind of like weird too. I was like, that's a really busy yarn for the lace. And my towels are different sizes because I ended up doing one towel, putting it up for a little while, and doing another towel, and I picked up the wrong needle size, so they go together. It's still a nice set, but one towel is a little bigger, let me see if I can show you, than the other towel. See? But they'd still look good together hung up. And then I only made 2 of the washcloths. This scrubby yarn is really hard to knit with. It catches, it has little loops on the edges. Let me see if I can show you guys. So that is not good for knitting needles. It would probably be much better for crochet, So I kind of saved the rest to do like a crochet scrubby because I have a whole ball and a partial ball left. So definitely crochet with this instead. And then I have almost a whole ball. In fact, I think this is a whole ball of the Lily Sugar and Cream. So again, lots of extra. I think even if I'd made everything on there, I would have had lots of extra. So this one is half the scrubby and half the cotton. And then this one was a cabled one, which the pattern was a little weird. It really flares out because you know how cables do that. And again, all that cable work with a really busy yarn, you really can't see it. Seems like a lot of work. And they make you kind of increase for the cable work and then decrease at the top, so of course it flares. So I probably wouldn't have designed a washcloth that way if I wanted it square, but I did it like the pattern. So, and you can even see on the picture it flared a little bit. They kind of tucked it in for the picture, you know they did. Because it's gonna flare out on the edges. And so yeah, I'll probably make, I haven't actually used the scrubby to see how it performs or anything, but it is 100% cotton with fringe. So if anybody else has used it, let me know how it performed for actual kitchen scrubby, because I'll make more scrubbies out of this. But yeah, it was a really interesting choice. It wasn't my favorite for a kitchen set. It seemed like a little niche-y because of the nautical. So I just put it away when I was finished, and I might find somebody to gift it to, or somebody who has a kitchen in those colors that likes boats. I don't know. So that's everything up to date because I already filmed June, July, and August of this year in their own videos. And I'll continue to do that for September and on for the unboxing and the finishing. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys the old kits that I had, so you could see, because I like watching these. I like seeing the old kits too. So, alright, thanks guys.